Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for coming in on number 12. This is session 12 of Love is Patient. I have enjoyed myself for the last several sessions expressing how important it is to be patient in your love relationships. Today, we are going to talk about just a little bit about the natural cleanse. The name and the title of this session is It's Snowing, the Natural Cleanse. How are we going to put these two things together? We're going to do it. It's going to take some work, but you will see exactly what we're talking about once we get into the groove of it. And we're going to dive deep today. So I thank you for joining me on another session of Love is Patient, where we just talk about some aspects of your love relationships. Doesn't have to mean that you're married. Maybe you're engaged. Maybe you are in a relationship that you are considering some some creating some different types of situations with your loved one. It could be your daughter, your son. It could be your aunt, your uncle, whatever the situation. Let's dive into this subject matter and think about what we can do to better our situations. All right. So we'll talk just a little bit about cleanses, natural cleansing. We're talking about our health. We're at the top of the year where we made it to 2021. We're at the top of our year. And most of the time, we turn our hearts towards our health. We're at the top of the year. Let's get in shape. And if we're already in shape, let's stay in shape. Let's pay attention to our bodies because we only get one of them. So we have to take care of our bodies. So it is very natural to think about cleaning out, making sure that our bodies are functioning at top capacity. All right. So cleansing and detoxing is a big thing. It's a big to do at the end of the year, the beginning of the year, and some people have a regular regimen of cleansing. So let's talk just a little bit about that. It can be a thing where you're replacing food with liquids. You could support your detoxification process. You're cleansing your digestive system. It can be for the purpose of ridding your body of toxins, restarting your metabolism. That's a big buzzword there in health. Metabolism. How is your metabolism? Is it regularly? Do you have high metabolism? That means are you burning up your food intake in a fast way, or is your metabolism slow? So some of what we are doing with cleansing and cleanses and detoxes is you are restarting your metabolism. The other thing is that you're going to rest the digestive system. So that is the physical part of this cleanse. All right, that's the physical part of it. There are some very popular types of cleanses. You have fasting cleanses, drinking fruit juices and vegetable juices, uh, drinking liquids or salted waters, lemon juices, eliminating certain types of foods, okay? Taking supplemental herbs. So these are all different types of detoxes and cleanses that you can do. Get into a health group. Get a accountability partner. This is something that will work well if you are not into this type of thing. But I think it's a wonderful thing just to clean out. It makes you feel better. And like I said, it can restart your metabolism. Do some research on it. I'm going to look further into this myself and get into the habit of just making sure we have a good cleanse. So all types of toxins and poisons that can be in your body, and it's good to pay attention to your body and to do a cleanse every now and then. All right, snow. Snow is a natural cleanse for the earth or the area that experiences that type of climate. It actually cleans the air of pollutants. So that is an interesting aspect of the winter time, fall, or sometimes early spring, where we experience snow. And it's not just a matter of precipitation, but it actually cleanses the air. So, with that idea in mind, I want to bring your attention to some seasons bring an opportunity to cleanse a situation. All right. Some seasons in your love relationship presents an opportunity to cleanse a situation, to clean it out, to make it better, to get rid of some poisons and toxins and some bad ideas and some stinking thinking and some things that are in your relationships that you know and that you can identify and that you need to rid your relationship of. So you can think of it as a snow day. You can think of it as a beautiful experience, and it has its ups and downs. Snow can deter you from going to a certain place. It can slow you down. It's quite slippery. It's cold. You have to prepare yourself in a way that you can manage the snow. And it's just like that in some of our love relationships when this opportunity comes for our air, so to speak, to be clean. Sometimes we have to go through something a little different, prepare yourself in a different way to experience this cleansing. All right, in the winter and sometime in late fall and early spring, it snows in different parts of the world due to just a natural type of thing, natural climate and weather changes. Sometimes in our love relationship, in certain seasons, there is an opportunity presented. Okay, sometimes you recognize some things that don't rub you the right way, and you know that this is not what love is all about. You know it's not what love is all about. So we're going to look at some of these toxins, some of this poison that can actually be in your love relationships. And I know that many of you are familiar. It's a buzzword. It's been out for a while. Toxic situations and toxic people. We're going to examine some of these tendencies. We're going to identify and define what a toxic relationship is. And although you may have studied this and you know all about this and you may be experiencing it, come along with me and maybe you will learn something new or look at it in a different way. And perhaps you would be able to identify something in your love relationship that you can change. And the first step to changing is to identify what it is. So let's talk just a little bit about it. Dr. Lillian Glass, she is a communication and psychology expert. And she is the one back in 1995 that coined the phrase about toxic people. Okay? And she defined it as this: any relationship between people who don't support each other, where it is a conflict and one seeks to undermine the other. How many situations do we know like that? When one person is trying to undermine the other. It's supposed to be in a love relationship. You're related. You're supposed to be in a relationship, but you see an undermining. There's two other aspects of this. There is competition, where you see some disrespect tied to that. And then there's a lack of cohesiveness. So there's three parts to this toxic relationship, you'll see an undermining, you'll see competition where there's disrespect, because there is a such thing as healthy competition, but this is competition where you see a lot of disrespect. And then a lack of cohesiveness. You're not seeing things eye to eye. You're not on the same page. So that's three parts of a toxic relationship. What some of the things that you might feel or sense in a toxic relationship? It's consistently unpleasant and draining. Okay, if you ever been in a relationship or a situation where a person just drains you, there may be some toxicity going on there, where the negative in your relationship outweighs the positive. We got to do some checks and balances there. It could be mentally and emotionally and maybe even physically damaging. All right. It could be physically damaging, and that is a huge red flag. But there's also, along with physical, there's also other kind of abuse, which is mental and emotional as well. One thing about this is that people who constantly undermine and compete with disrespect and cannot get on the same page with each other, these types of people, there is a reason behind how they're acting and what they do. They may have been in a toxic relationship. Maybe they grew up in a relationship where it is toxic, where they have not been supported in a loving way in their rearing, in their upbringing. All right, it could be a type of a person. You never know how people process things. Maybe they were bullied in school, bullied in the neighborhood. You just never know. All right, and they may have suffered from an undiagnosed mental dilemma. All right, a mental health disorder of some type. It could be depression, it could be anxiety, all right? It could be a bipolar disorder, an eating disorder. These things are very real and very serious. It could be any type of trauma, especially trauma that's happened in early years, in your childhood, that causes people to act a certain way. And sometimes we back up from a person, but part of being patient in your love relationship is to identify, wow, this might be an issue that we need to get to the bottom of. Examples of toxic relationships: perhaps a person experienced emotional trauma in their childhood, and sometimes when that happens, it attracts people of the same caliber. Sometimes that same person may be attracted to somebody and marry somebody that they experience that same type of trauma from. So that's trauma in the childhood, trauma in the marriage, and perhaps that person just can't take it anymore. The marriage ends. All right, so that's an example of a toxic relationship. And we all know that there are imperfect people that get married. Of course, everybody's imperfect, but imperfect pairing is something that we can look at. Two people that are maybe very controlling, two people that are very sarcastic. They're going to clash, their personalities are going to collide, and it's not going to be a good thing. So you really have to watch in this thing called love. You have to watch and just make sure that you're compatible before you jump that broom, before you commit to each other. It could be a thing where you're attracted to each other, but you're not compatible. So these are some things that we really have to consider. So many different examples of toxic relationships. However, let's go on to talk about some warning signs in relationship. If your relationship stops bringing you joy instead of consistently making you instead of consistently making you feel that you want to be around that person all the time, and just like it used to be, you are feeling sad and angry and anxious, maybe a little nervous around them. That's a sign that some toxicity may be in your relationship. If you find yourself a little envious, a little jealous of other couples, you're looking at other couples and wishing that you could have that same type of relationship. Okay, that's a warning sign that maybe you're in a toxic relationship. That might be a dead giveaway. Um, Negative shifts in your mental health. Okay, so you don't feel as if you're well balanced anymore. That might be a warning sign. Personality or self esteem shifts, shifts in your personality. You're not quite yourself. Your self esteem is down. You don't feel so great about you. These are red flags. These are red flags and warning signs. Check out your relationship. All right. Depression, anxiety, eating disorders. You don't usually eat this way, but things are shifting, things are changing, and it's coming out in your habits, nervousness, feeling like you can't talk or voice your concerns. Huge, huge red flag. Huge red flag. If you cannot voice your concerns with your loved one, that is a red flag. All right. So what do we do? What do we do in this situation where we're seeing these red flags? And we can't forget that we should also pay close attention to other people that love us. Sometimes we get a call. Sometimes somebody might pull you aside. Hey, you're not yourself. Hey, what's going on? I noticed some things about your relationship that's not good. These are dead giveaway. These are signs. We cannot just push people away when we know that they love us. And sometimes they're trying to tell us that, hey, this is not a good thing. You are not yourself. I'm seeing some shifts, some changes in your personality, your habits, and it's not good. Sometimes we don't like to agree, or maybe we won't agree, but if there is that person that is tapping you on the shoulder saying that this is not normal, you ought to take notice and take note of what's going on in this love relationship that is not quite right. All right. Sometimes people normalize their experience. Oh, things aren't going to be perfect with this relationship. Things aren't, this is just a rough spot, and it's okay to acknowledge that, but to normalize it over a period of time is not a good thing. So what should you do? What should you do if these signs come up? All right, again, this is an opportunity to cleanse your relationship. Just like you make a decision to do something different with your intake, something that you're feeding your system with. You're making a decision either to fast or to reduce your food intake down to fruit or vegetables or just liquids for that time so that you can cleanse your system. We have to look at this set of information too. Sometimes our relationships are toxic. We have to take in some things that will clean out these love relationships. So what should we do if you are in physical danger? I would say you need to bring somebody in on it. Call the authorities. There is no reason why you should be in physical danger. Nobody should be threatening you, hitting you, pushing you, and harming you physically. No one, that is not normal. Maybe even because you've seen it in your childhood, or you've seen somebody do this and take it and survive from it. You don't have to go through that same thing. That is highly toxic. All right. And other than physical danger and physical abuse, the mental and emotional abuse is real as well. And it is unacceptable. And this is something that you do not have to deal with. All right. And it is not normal. Let's stop normalizing things that harm us. It's not normal. All right. It is not the norm. Just because mom and them and auntie and grandma and them put up with it, you don't have to. It's not normal. All right. So as far as emotional and mental abuse and harm, you have to make a decision. You have to make a decision whether you can work this thing out. My suggestion would be get to the root of it. Is it something in this person's childhood? Is it something in your childhood that keeps bringing up these ill feelings that are affecting your relationships around you? This is where the patience comes in. This is where you have to be patient in this process. However, in this love relationship, if this is the case, and perhaps you know somebody where you can definitely identify, oh yeah, that's a toxic relationship there. We have to be patient with the process. We have to get some help. We have to get to the root of the issue. Many times it's good to bring somebody in, to go see somebody, to talk to somebody about these issues. You're never alone. You're never alone in these types of things, and it is a good thing to be prayerful about who you're going to. I do have a couple Christian counselors that I do know of. If you want to inbox me, I'll be happy, very happy to give you that information. But we have to make a decision. Once we identify a decision has to be made as to how we're going to deal with it. If it's that bad to the point where you need to leave, have to leave, let's get in contact with a support system where you can make your transition. Not that you have to leave, not that it's a permanent thing. It's case by case. You have to go case by case with that. I don't know if it's a permanent thing that we're dealing with or not. But if you have to leave, there are some supports out there that can house you and get you away from the abusive nature of the person that you're in the relationship with. And then if you are the abuser, you can get help as well. All right. So these are some things that we have to consider. It's very real. There's nothing new under the sun. Call somebody. Call 911 if it's physical abuse. If it's emotional and mental abuse, there are some people that can help you as well. I just found a toxic relationship support group right on Facebook. It's called Avoiding Toxic Relationships with Carolyn Gamble. And so you can just search right on Facebook, Avoiding Toxic Relationships. Avoiding Toxic Relationships. So this is a group on Facebook, over 7,000 members. And within this group, there are specialists and there are people that can assist in this type of thing. So we're talking about today opportunities in our season that allow for us to identify toxicity and to get rid of the toxic nature that's going on in your relationship. All right. So you can get back to happy times, so that you can get back to your times where you just could not stay away from each other and you just wanted to be in each other's presence. We have to get back into that. Rid ourselves of all the poisons and the toxins. So thank you for listening in today. It's some heavy stuff. It's some things that we all know, but I'm telling you, I know there's somebody out there that needs some help in this arena. Please inbox me. If I can help you in any way, I would be happy to do so. Let's get rid of these toxic and toxins and get on to what we need to do in our relationships, especially if it is a marriage relationship. And I can't single out other relationships. Toxicity is bad for any relationship. So let's think about this. Let's not just think about it. Let's be about it. Let's act on it. Okay? So make sure that you, if you need to, chime into this Facebook group. It's called Avoiding Toxic Relationships. And there will be some posts there, some information there that you can chime into. It's snowing. All right? The natural cleanse. Just as snow cleans the air, we know that in some seasons in our love relationships, there are opportunities that come to us so that we can clean out. It's not the end of the world if you've identified some things here and I've talked about some situations. It's not the end of the world. We can fix it together. And remember that you're never alone. Let's go to God in prayer. Lord, we just thank you and we praise you for this subject matter. At the top of the year, we're thinking about and we're identifying the aspects of our relationship that could be improved upon. All of the toxic areas of our relationship that we may not even understand. If we're the abuser, we may not even understand that we are adversely affecting our loved ones with things that have happened way long time ago in our childhood. We ask that you help us to identify these toxins, help us to get a strategy together to deal with whatever it is that's holding up this love relationship. We ask that you help us to be patient in this matter. And above all, God, you help us to do the work to keep ourselves in line with one another, loving one another as you would have us to love. In Jesus' name we pray. Thank you so much for joining in. I will see you next time. Bye now.